We all drove up to Wyoming and, Garrison was our passenger.
I was the first one that held him. He's my son. I rocked him to sleep.
Welcome back to Sister Wives Daily, everyone. Some good news for everyone. The Sister Wives filming on TLC specifically chose not to include the tape from the ceremony and memorial conducted by the Nevada National Guard in honor of Garrison Brown. Good that TLC tape there? And then there are some pictures which catch cameraman Tim in the act at the event. My sources indicated that they had come all ready to shoot, which proved to cause a huge amount of tension with the family. Well, thank goodness then that the footage did not make it into the show. However, what did become the focus was Kody's attempt at playing the distraught father, a shocked man over the death of his son. This episode focused a lot on what they called a pilgrimage, a trip to Wyoming, where Garrison would be laid to rest. During the episode, Janelle described that she wished to bury Garrison in Wyoming, and she mentioned that cremation was never her belief. She clarified that her thought always hinged on her faith, although she mentioned that she discovered that it wasn't necessarily an entirely faith-based perspective, even though it is sort of a thing. The AUB, broadly speaking, doesn't support cremation. They prefer burial, which is also a belief held by the FLDS. I'm not sure about the LDS position, but I'm referring specifically to the LDS and AUB here. Janelle said she agreed to the burial so he could be placed beside her mother in the cemetery. It appears they buried an urn rather than a full casket. However, the episode itself felt so fragmented, highly flimsy. Kody and Robyn's self-proclaimed pilgrimage to Wyoming barely had anything to do with Garrison. Indeed, the episode had some extreme contrasts. Christine and David sat down, played cards together, and talked about their mourning. Christine spoke about the last things she heard from Garrison. She shared feelings of having felt like she let some warning signs go by and spoke comparatively briefly, however, regarding the messages that she had gotten and how she could have done things differently. David just so happened to have shared a similar situation with her because his wife also committed suicide. He confided in sharing with her what it was like informing his children he had to break it to them and how it followed by guilt and self-blame. He testified in the raw emotions that come with an unreasonable tragedy like this one. It was evident David was a steady support for Christine, and evident just how shattered and heartbroken she was. She also spoke about Garrison's future, that he had just been accepted to nursing school. So, on one side, you had people like Christine and his mom, Janelle, people who knew him, sharing poignant personal anecdotes about who he was. Janelle's piece especially was very emotional, and I'm going to likely make a follow-up video delving deeper into what she said. And then there was Kody, and as my sources had guaranteed, making everything about himself. It wasn't so much about Garrison, but about Kody traveling to Wyoming to bring attention to signs he sold to stores more than 20 years ago. Not signs he made, signs he merely sold. He took his children along with him, taking them around the different signs he had installed. I was truly in awe of it.
So I sold two of the coolest signs in this town. Like I sold probably 25, but two of the coolest ones, I want to go show them to you.
The entire segment with Robyn and Kody just felt so weird. It was entirely about Kody. It didn't have anything to do with Garrison whatsoever. Robyn just kept interrupting the talking heads in an attempt to remind people that they were actually filming for Garrison. She just kept banging on about how sad it was, how tragic it had been, and how this was not a happy moment, but a sorrowful one. But it appeared to be an annual visit for them. They return each and every year. And here's the thing. If you need to narrate over what we're actually seeing, attempting to persuade us that the narrative we're watching is something other than what we're seeing on screen, then you're just not being truthful. Because what we saw was Kody wandering around going on and on about these gaudy signs he sold more than 25 years ago. The fact that some of these companies still haven't replaced those signs is really crazy to me. Then, of course, there's Kody once more, going on about these signs, which of course no one cared about. Then they sat and watched some kind of gun show or Wild West performance. But then it started raining, so they went to the hotel to eat. They headed to a saddle shop where Kody had placed an ad for, and that was really odd. The dude in there was already hooked up, so clearly it was staged. And he's charging these saddles $20,000, but still has this retro neon sign from 2000. Like, seriously? Now, I'm not saying people must update their signage regularly, but come on, neon signs don't last forever. They wear out eventually. But the bigger issue here, none of this, absolutely none of it, had anything to do with Garrison. What really hit me was when they revealed they brought the urn with them in the car. Robyn said Garrison was a passenger in their vehicle going out to Wyoming. That hit me hard, because come on, they wouldn't have had Garrison ride in their vehicle when he was alive, and then suddenly they're providing him with this pilgrimage after he's dead? You're grieving about this trip with someone you wouldn't even invite into your house when he was alive. And much of what Robyn was speaking about wasn't even regarding Garrison. It was all regarding what Kody would be experiencing, the grieving that he'd be doing, and how to grieve the right way with the right tools so that it would be healthy. Essentially, as if she was going around in circles telling everyone that what Kody was doing that day was not healthy. I couldn't comprehend it, because Kody, obviously, dominated the entire day. Again, no connection at all to Garrison, and no one cared whatsoever about these inane signs. Robyn rolled her eyes even. They did not mention Garrison at all at dinner. Robyn rather invested her time in telling how Kody's dad was crazy about the Wild West, how Kody was named after Buffalo Bill, last name Kody, and his dad spelled it a K instead. And somehow the subject of Buffalo Bill being a ladies' man came into it, which Kody then also denied. I mean, come on? Nothing, again, was about Garrison. It was all about Kody. Kody going home to his own hometown so that he could talk about himself. But we have already seen this episode before. Kody, don't you remember going home to Lovell years ago to do this very same kind of visit? In those days, you shared all your wives. You did public for the first time. You were on the lake with Ken, and your classmates would ask you things about being a polygamist. That very same girl whom you used to have a thing for was present. And yes, Robyn was also present. All this pilgrimage to Wyoming. You're just recreating it with your new crop of kids. That's what all this was. And one more thing that really got my attention. Some of Garrison's siblings did speak about him. We heard from Addie, Savannah, and Gabriel. But despite the fact that Kody and Robyn's kids were being filmed, not a word was mentioned about Garrison by any of them. Not one. No, we miss him. No, we're devastated that he died. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Probably very charming, very entertaining, very friendly, and maybe a bit of a ladies' man.
Because of their religious beliefs, I suppose, they managed to get themselves into this bizarre conversation about Buffalo Bill being a ladies' man. And then there was Brianna, rolling her shoulders, mimicking Kody, and sticking out her tongue and flapping it around. And, come on, most people know what that is aiming at. I just thought, what in the world is going on here? Why are they having this conversation about Buffalo Bill and making it sexual in some bizarre way, drawing parallels with Kody having multiple wives and being this ladies' man? And then it hit me in the most cringeworthy way possible. The entire family setup is all about everyone sitting around and cultivating Kody. It's all about educating Kody of how great he is. And then Kody gets to sit there and talk about himself, babbling on and on about what a stud he is. And all that really does is demonstrate that Kody seems to base all of his self-esteem and validation on getting his family to idolize him. You never catch Robyn droning on about herself or about sharing her own stories. The children are not really talking about themselves at all. all of it, this whole filmed dinner business, was just so obviously wrong under the circumstances. A kid has died. They're taking a trip to mark Garrison's burial, and no one talks about Garrison. Not at all.
Are you excited to go to the ranch tomorrow?
I completely get that grief comes in waves and everyone grieves in their own time. Life moves on, and I get it. My own family has lost people, but never, never have we tried to profit from someone's death. I've never made $1 from the death of a loved one. I've never profited from my grief for clout or turned it into a plot twist for entertainment. So, to watch Kody and Robyn try to force out tears over a child they ignored, cast aside, kicked out, wouldn't even let in their home, it's honestly hard to stomach. They had no real relationship with Garrison. None. And now we're supposed to sit here and watch them pretend like we've all just forgotten? Forgotten the way they treated him? Forgotten how Garrison felt about them? Did he forget the emotional pain they gave him? Robyn wasn't welcome at any of Garrison's services, and rightfully so. Garrison would never have wanted her there. He had such strong feelings of resentment toward her. So, to hear her say things like, "He's a passenger in my car," or, "The graveside service is going to be so emotional," and, "We loved him, we're laying him to rest," it's infuriating. And then Kody, trying to squeeze out a tear when speaking about Garrison, as if to lead us to believe this whole circus we just saw had anything to do with his son. When it didn't, none of it did. At the last possible moment, he finally gets around to saying, "And on Sunday, we're going to the graveyard service." I just hope they don't televise that burial. Some things are private. Some moments are not for the world, and that would be one of them, for sure.
And then Sunday, we're going to the graveside funeral. So that's it.
And there's Kody admitting that the memorial poster from the Nevada National Guard's ceremony, the one of Garrison in his military fatigues, is in his garage. That says a lot in itself. It indicates that Garrison still isn't welcome in Kody and Robyn's home, even in death. Okay, Kody likes to spend time in his garage. So why is that where you put a memorial for your son who served this country? Why is that photo not proudly displayed inside your home? Your walls are covered in tacky artwork, but there is no space for a photo of your son who served in the military? It's insulting. Not to mention, garages aren't winterized. They live in Flagstaff. That photo will be ruined over time. Again, Garrison is an afterthought. And that's not an accident. That's Robyn's influence. She never wanted him in her home when he was alive, and apparently nothing's changed. Then there's Kody's lie. He says on film that after the Flagstaff Memorial and the Nevada one, which thank God they didn't broadcast, he left Garrison's remains with his brothers and picked them up months later. Left them? Like he ever had them in the first place? The truth is, he never had possession of the remains to start with. They were released to Janelle, and she and her sons kept them. Maybe Kody got them later, maybe not. We don't even see the urn in the episode. Andrea raises the issue of custody and birth certificates. When Janelle declared bankruptcy in 1997, she listed herself as the sole parent of all 6 kids. No husband, no co-parent. That would have meant Kody didn't have legal claim to them then. Flash forward 7 or 8 years, and suddenly Kody's adding them to his bankruptcy with Meri, even though he's not even listed on their birth certificates. If that doesn't scream fraud, I don't know what would. Ultimately, this episode wasn't about Garrison. It was about Kody trying to craft a narrative of the grieving father, turning his journey through grief into a self-serving plot point. And honestly, thank God TLC left out Robyn's "I'm the abused wife" narrative, but her talking head still reeked of self-pity. Her main concern? That Kody learns to grieve in a healthy way, not because she's concerned for him, but because she doesn't want to deal with his emotional fallout. That's how selfish it felt. Robyn hated Garrison, and Garrison knew it. So why is his photo in the garage? Because Robyn still doesn't want him in her space. That speaks volumes. And remember, this was filmed in June or July, but the Janelle and Savannah scenes were filmed in April. If this was truly such a family pilgrimage, where is the interaction between Kody and his other children? Oh yeah, there isn't any. They don't wish to have anything to do with him. They don't wish to have anything to do with a man who was so brutal to their brother. That says it all. It's disgusting. It's all a story. I feel so badly for the rest of the family who really loved Garrison and now have to sit and see his memory twisted in this manner. I don't feel sorry for Robyn or Kody, and I hate that even in death, they're doing this to Garrison. What do you believe? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. Bye, besties.